Hey you, welcome to Create to Liberate. I'm Anissa. Today's video is about sacred rage, releasing our anger, screaming as medicine. This topic is particularly relevant to women or those who've been told that they couldn't express their anger, their rage, and feel safe to be in these ferocious states of self. But know that that's the only thing that will create a cathartic release. That's the thing that will be healing and medicinal in our journey to reclaiming more of our wholeness, more of ourself. And that includes our shadow and our light. As always, I share wisdom from my own lived experience, as I believe we're all each other's mirrors. We provide a mirror to each other to be able to see ourselves more clearly and ideally empower each other. If you enjoy this video, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel. We are growing. We're going to hit 2K this year. And if you're listening on audio, just leave a quick review in the platform. It supports this podcast actually reaching more people. So for those who've been tuning into previous episodes, I've been talking about my journey of feeling more honoring of the anger within me, or feeling it bubbling up within me against my will in many moments in the last few months. And sometimes in the same way that we need a really good cry, we need a really good scream. There's also a huge emotional cost to suppressing this, and I believe that energetic suppression also leads to disease. It becomes a toxicity in our body if it's not released. And it doesn't have to be released onto others. We don't have to scream at people in our lives. We can scream in a container that feels safe to us. We can practice what I'll get into. Your rage isn't bad. Your rage is very healthy. I know that I'm meant to be way more rageful, and that used to come out in shadowy ways. And when I take more ownership over my own personal anger and rage, the more powerful I am in the world, the more I'm able to show up as a leader, show up to be a supportive friend to other people, the more I'm able to use that ferocity to be less of a bullshitter and more of a truth teller, to be more aware of my own boundaries and others, to be a baddie. First, when do you know that you need to have a good scream? I'll identify this for me particularly. When I wake up and I feel tension in my throat or I feel swirling in my mind, that's the time to just turn over into my pillow and scream. Identifying the root causes of your rage is also super helpful, and you can do that as an after thing. Sometimes our rage arises because we have unmet needs. Maybe it's because we experience injustices. I went to a dentist who is definitely a scam artist, type dentist here in Los Angeles, and there are so many bad actors under capitalism, under the patriarchy, especially in Los Angeles, who are just businesses built on exploiting people for money. And they have such short-term self-interest in mind that they're willing to not operate in integrity in their business, not really serve customers, really just try to get your money and leave. And there's so many businesses operating this way. It's actually pretty disgusting, because morally, when you think people go to sleep and they don't feel good about all of the corruption they created, but unfortunately, no, everybody in their personal mind thinks they're a savior, right? So these folks who are exploiting people just for money are saying to themselves, it's America, you gotta hustle. You know, they have some kind of narrative around why they operate in this way to support their family. But either way, it's not doing it for me. It's not doing it clearly for many of their customers who have also wrote terrible reviews. They're cutting the palm trees outside, so it's a little bit loud. Hopefully that doesn't bleed too much into this audio. I'll try to speak closer to the mic and reduce sound. But wake up at 4 a.m., mind is swirling. I'm like, I should have done this. No, and then I should have told them this, and then I should have said, and then I should have. And there's all these ways in which I was actually not angry at the business. I was angry at myself. Often in these times of our deep anger, we think we're angry at things outside of us, and most likely we're angry at ourselves for not speaking our truth, for not standing up for ourselves, for not doing what our intuition was trying to guide us towards, for seeing things and not speaking. There's all these moments of things crossing our personal boundaries, and that's what we're usually angry around. We're not usually just angry because we're angry. There are injustices that make us really angry in the world, and that's more of an initiation into being more of an activist, being more vocal, stepping more into power. That's not an invitation to make ourselves small. Anyways, so as I was swirling at 4 a.m. around this and brooding, and I rarely have nights where I don't have 9 hours of sleep. I sleep beautifully. I do my meditation, da-da-da. And it's so helpful once in a while to have these moments where you're just not self. You're so out of alignment. What also helped me get out of myself was thinking about others. When I was finally able to break through what I felt like was an injustice and my ego was taking personally, and I thought about other people in that same position who maybe couldn't afford to feed their children because they were scammed out of certain money, and how painful it is for different people based on their circumstances for these types of businesses to exist, etc., then I had a larger case not to have rage against them, but to have rage against the system, rage against the patriarchy, the capitalism, this world that we've created that's not serving so many people. It's not supporting the well-being and health of children, of women, of so many communities globally. It's just a broken system. And the more that you focus your life around catering to a broken system, the stupider a waste of life is. And the more people who free themselves from these shackles that we are conditioned to believe are important, the better I think the world will be. And that is my personal mission. And that's why I continue to create, to liberate, not to serve the algorithm. There are so many moments where we feel like our boundaries are violated, where we feel like we're in disharmony with our environment. There's perceived injustice or there's real injustice. And to be a person who doesn't allow that to come into their field, how could you expect to also feel joy? If you're numbing and shutting yourself down to a lot of the bullshit of the world, then you're not inviting yourself to be able to feel more deeply all of the joys and all the wonders of the world. A lot of the healing journey to feel our wholeness is to feel everything. And many of us just want to feel the good parts. We just want to feel the sweetness. But if we love a little bit more of the anger, if we love a little bit more of the shadow sides of self, then we come into greater experiencing of everything. Also, the more that you allow yourself to express your anger, your rage in a container that feels safe and healthy for you, the less it'll show up as these random outbursts, reactivities, etc. People think that you'll be more unsafe if you're like punching a pillow or punching something at home. Like they're going to go out into the world, punch somebody in the face. Actually, no, because of this practice, I'm peaceful with other people. I work well and nice and harmoniously with other people. I'm not seething with any pent-up anger. With other people, I have a peaceful internal state, and people feel that. They feel safe around me because I unleash. And I hope you can do that same level of unleashing, of releasing all of the things that are bottled up within you that need to be released. And we are all interconnected, so things that you might not be feeling personally in this body are still felt. Sometimes we feel things more strongly for other people than we do for ourselves. One of the big examples of this in my life when it came to sexual abuse and trauma, it was experienced by people that I loved so much in my life. And I took that so deeply personally at a young age. And I continue to accumulate more friends with those wounds. And it became almost like my vendetta. Their pain became this huge source of rage within me. And I wasn't conscious to it fully until I was. And sometimes there might be people's experiences, other people's wounds that you're carrying within you and you're not aware of it. And that's what needs to be released. That's what needs to be healed. That's what needs to be created some level of exhale around. It's not just for yourself. It might be coming from generations in your family. It might be coming from non-physical past soul life incarnations. Sacred release, how to practice it. Beginning with the physical catharsis, there is things that you can look up around shaking techniques, just really like getting into your physical body. Primal rage. There's a YouTuber called Satya Speaks here on YouTube. He is just like the iconic Indian guru type figure, and he's so good. And he talks a lot about the physicality and the powerful nature of Osho's meditations. And I love, it's really primal, it helps get you into your physicality, but there's also ways that you can do this physically. If you have a punching bag, if you have a pillow, you can actually get your body into movement, start releasing, literally raging on your pillows, on your boxing, this and that, whatever you have available to you. There are so many rabbit holes that I can get into around the embodiment of this anger. That is a task for you if you're interested to look up how to embody this more physically in your own space. Jumping, dancing, getting into your body, punching things. How else is a rabbit hole for you? Then there's creative expression, journaling. Angry writing is amazing. Telling people exactly what you would have told them if you had the chance to go back into time, or telling yourself what you needed to hear so you can like soothe the rage in you. There's so many rappers I love. I love Koj Radical. I love Coda the Friend. I love Loyal Cardinal, Dreamville Space. I hadn't listened to hip hop in so long. I hadn't listened to rappers in so long. I dismissed them because there's so much lyrics that are misogynistic, unsupportive to my well-being. But there's so many good artists as well. And it might just take you finding your rage music. It might take you taking the time to put together a nice little rage playlist for yourself. So on Spotify, you can just be able to hit it and you can rap to things, you can scream to things. feel like screamo, whatever it is for you, just find the thing that serves you. You might benefit from some creative, some angry chaos. I always wish that I could be like in Pollock and throw paint at a canvas and then just let the expression be like something out into the world. There are so many creative ways to make a safe container for this expression, to make art, to make a movie, to like make a poem, something. There's a need for creative release and there's an opportunity to dance it out. And then verbally, singing is so powerful, chanting is so powerful, screaming is so powerful, screaming into a pillow, screaming while you're in your car. Finding quiet spaces to scream, I find really nice. Places where I feel like people won't hear me or be concerned for me. But I also really enjoy in Osho meditation, there's a part where we just scream. You scream basically for 5 minutes, scream until you can't scream anymore. And what you feel after that is a lightness and a love that you've never been able to experience before. I love the other side of what it is to scream, and often for me it's a huge softening. Rage in general allows us to reclaim our power, our inner power. That rage is fuel out of indecision. Sometimes when we don't have clarity of mind, we're like, maybe I could do this, maybe I could do that. Oh, I don't really know, wherever the wind sweeps me. And you're kind of in that place of like uncertainty. Rage will clarify things. Your no's will be clear, your yeses will be clear. It just unblocks in a really powerful way. You'll see something happen on the street and you're just like, no. And then you realize in the other areas of your life, you're like, no, yes, no. It's beautiful. It's an opening. And it can also really supportively lead to positive change for other people. It can really put you in this state of empowerment to want to be beyond yourself, to want to step into your warrior-like energy in this lifetime. People need that. So many people want to be like sheep. We just want to lean back. I'm sure it's going to be fine. It's totally going to be okay. No, it's going to be okay because you make it okay. Because you create that. No passive participants. Rage also helps us heal past trauma and wounds. Rage allows us space to have permission to feel the extremes that we're often told not to experience, told to meditate out of. And I love meditation, but I love it as an after tool. I love meditation when it makes sense to meditate. When I'm deeply angry, it makes sense for me to scream and then soften, enter a place of stillness, then meditate, and then soothe myself, and then love myself more. It's a cycle. So often folks, certain spaces, especially spiritually, will say, there's no place for anger, there's no place for rage, there's no place for shadow side of self. What? There's no place for being a human? It doesn't make any sense. All of this human experience is valid. All of it has an application. There are healthy expressions of all of the emotions that we have within us. And any teachings that tell you or shame you or guilt you are bullshit in my opinion. Treat people kindly for the most part. Compassion for yourself when you don't. No beating yourself up. Reconciling with that part of yourself and taking ownership of that side of self. Really stepping into the maturity to be like, that wasn't the way that I want to show up and I'm going to show up better the next time. Last but not least, your rage empowers your self-identity. You know sometimes who you are because you know what you are not for. You know what you are not about. You know what's out of alignment. I was in this situation with the dentist and I was like, And that was the truth. That was all I needed. None of us are meant to be subjugated to mistreatment by other people. And unfortunately, we live in a world that does that. I know sometimes we want to have a simpler life. We want to have more ease. And the path to that easeful, simple state is within us. It's not going to be in the world outside of you. And if you shelter yourself from the world and live in a little cul-de-sac, live in a smaller place, is your soul happy? I think many of us are here to live a more expansive life. We're here to take risks. We're here to go outside of our comfort zones. We're here to travel and adventure. We're here to have new experiences that we do not like. And those grow us and we can handle them because we're warriors. In this chapter, I'm working on being way more aware and integrating more of my anger and more of my rage into my everyday practice and noticing my triggers. And I encourage you to do the same. Notice the things that trigger you, trigger anger, trigger rage, trigger any kind of shadow aspects of self. Maybe it's jealousy, envy, competitiveness. What are those triggers? Can you notice them? Can you love them? Can you understand them? Can you unpack them? How can you have the compassion for yourself as you navigate these intense emotions within yourself? Oftentimes we want a savior. I definitely wanted a savior for myself, most hugely. Somebody to make hard times easier, somebody to make me feel self-soothed in the moments that I actually just need to just soothe myself. You give permission to other people to be able to do that when you do that. That side of you has such a purpose, such a strength in the outer world, and that part of you deserves some light, and I hope you love it more. I hope you scream more into your pillows. I hope you punch some things in the safety of your home. I hope that you get to know this part of yourself and get to worship this part of yourself, your Kali energy, your sacred rage, the warrior in you. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel. Very quick. And if you're listening on audio, leave a review. Appreciate you being here.